If you want to see how I created this craziness right here, you better stick around. So one of the questions that people ask me all the time is, where does all of this stuff come from? Where do I get the designs and the ideas to be able to put something like this all together? And honestly, the truth is that it kind of comes from all different places. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there that has already been done. Obviously not the first truck to have a tilt hood. Obviously not the first truck to have cantilever air ride on it. Obviously not the first truck to have big giant slicks on the back. So basically what I've done with this truck is I've just kind of picked the things that I really like and I merged them all together to be able to create something that's cool looking like our truck here. Now, sometimes that stuff flows together really nice and easy and plays good together, and other times it's a total pain and we've got to get really creative on some of the stuff that I've got to make and do. And, you know, it just kind of all goes back to experience really at this point. Let's take all the experience that I have from the past and be able to put it into the present project today. But even myself on occasion, just like anybody out there, you can't know everything. So every once in a while you rely on the opinions and the thoughts and the experience of other people. And that's kind of where I'm at in today's video. For you guys that are here just for the fab side of things, don't worry, I got you. I'm going to put you a timestamp right here of where you need to fast forward to if you want to watch just the fab side of things. And for everyone else that's sticking around and wants to hear the story, let's get started. Now, in the beginning of this build, I decided there was a few things that I needed to have. One of them, I needed big tires on the back. I wanted a big block motor in it. I wanted air ride underneath it. And I wanted a cantilever on the front of it. And I also wanted zoomy headers sticking out the side of it. So, at this point now, since I've decided that I needed the zoomy headers, that's actually decided a few other things for me. Like, I wanted this design of an arm here on my air ride system. So with the shock on the back side of it, that's actually got that whole thing pushed forward as far as it is because of those headers. If we were doing a different style of header or a different style of arm, then I could have actually brought the axle back just a little bit. Personally, I think I would have liked it back just a little bit from where it's at, but I think once the headers are in here, it's all going to look right and it's all going to work pretty good. Everything is now kind of all set in stone there on all of that stuff, and I'm at the point where I need to do my headers. And, you know, you think to begin with, you know, shoot, I'll just order a set of headers real quick. They're not that expensive. So I went to go look around, find a set of headers, and this is what I found. And right off the bat, you see a set of zoomy headers. They're raw, so they're going to rust. It's a rat rod. It'll be all right. They're only $100. And then you see it's for a small block. So it's like, okay, well, we keep looking. The next set we come to is on eBay, and they are actually coated, so that's pretty cool. They've got a set of gaskets with them, they've got bolts with them, and they're $200. Well, that sounds like a pretty good deal too. So, do they fit? No, because they are also small block. Then you get to the point where you actually find one that is actually for a big block, and we end up in the $700+ range. But me sitting here with a shop full of tools, I can't bring myself to pay $700 and some for some tubes with a little bit of a 90-degree bend on the end and some flanges. I just can't do it. So I'm at that crossroads now where I've been numerous times in the past on builds. And that's just where I'm not going to spend the money that it takes to be able to buy the part that's cool and that I want. So now I'm going to have to actually make the part that I need. Now, I've never actually made a set of headers, to be honest with you guys. I've cut out and made a bunch of flanges for people on my plasma table. I've done that many a times. I've also bent, I don't even know how many thousands of feet of tube. I mean, I've done a lot of tube. So, in theory, shouldn't be that big of a deal to build a set of headers, right? I can make the flange, I can make the tube. Should be able to put it together and make this work. So you can see how that establishes, at least for me, whether or not I'm actually building something for the truck or whether I'm buying something. Sometimes it's a situation where you don't actually have something that exists, you know, like for instance our cantilever arms, and especially with the fact that they say Old Crow in them and all that kind of stuff, I can't actually go buy that anywhere, so I have to make that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's just a matter of being cheap, like I am in this situation. So I think I'm going to go ahead and just make them, like I said, and it was really cold outside, so I really don't want to go all the way down to the part store because it's like 0 outside. Easiest way to make a header flange is to go to the store, buy a header gasket, throw it on the scanner, scan it, throw that into my CAD program, and I'm pretty close to being done with the thing. So I just went out to my little storage area, grabbed an old set of headers, and I think rather than making a flange, I think I'm just going to cut this one off. It's already got 1 3/4 tubes, so I've got 1 3/4 dies in my bender. Kind of seems like it goes together. So I'm just going to stick this up there now, make sure that it is actually a big block chivy. I think they pretty much are. It sure looks like it. Put them up there just to see, and we'll go from there. Well, hell. And it's at this point when I realized that the old crappy headers that I couldn't even give away at a swap meet are actually a perfect fit for the truck. They clear the floor, they clear the floorboard, clear the frame, they clear everything. Steering box, the whole 9 yards. So if I didn't already have this preconceived notion that I needed a set of zoomies sticking out the side, I could actually just be done. I could bolt these on, run some exhaust out the back, and call her good. And the lazy side of me really wants to do that, but can't do it. This thing needs zoomies, and that's just all there is to it. Well, now I'm at the point where I need some pipe to actually start on my headers. Now, I've got 1 3/4 DOM on the shelf, but that stuff is way too heavy, and it's going to be way overkill. Plus, it's expensive on top of that to be able to use just for header material. So I call up my buddy Dustin. He does all my stuff for me on all the exhaust on cars in the car lot, so I'm like, surely he's got some of it on the shelf. So I call him. He's like, yeah, I got a stick of it on the shelf. We get talking. He tells me that they only sell exhaust pipe in like 7.5 feet. Who knew that? I don't know. You'd think it'd be in 20-foot pieces like it is for everything else, but it's not, so he doesn't have enough. Long story short, we're going back and forth on different ideas, different options, and he kind of sets me on a whole nother path. So sometimes that's the way this stuff works, and now I'm going to junk this whole scenario. So you guys asked, you guys want to see how this all works out. Most of the time you wouldn't even see this kind of stuff, so it's kind of how it plays out. So yeah, luckily for me, I talked to Dustin beforehand, because if I'd have talked to anybody else about just buying some tube, they'd have sold me some tube, and I'd have got it home, and I'd have bent some, cut some, and instantly realized that I had the wrong stuff. So he set me on the right path, and I think this is going to be a lot better because we're going to actually step up to 2 1/4 inch. And I can know that for sure right now because I pulled out a piece of just regular old plain tubing and bent it up so we'd have a kind of a pattern for what we need in 2 1/4 inch, because I can't really get my truck out of here now and take it up to him and all that stuff because the weather and everything's so crappy outside. So long story short, made a template, and now I'm going to go up to his place and we're going to bend up a piece of tube, and I'll bring it back and we'll see how that's all going to work and play out. But yeah, this is definitely too small. That looks terrible. Alright, I'm back from Dustin's, and not only does he set me up with some 2 1/4 inch tube that's aluminized, so that's going to look good for a long time, he also has a set of big block flanges that will fit in. So that's pretty awesome. I don't have to make those, and now we can move forward with this deal. We've got it pretty close to where we need it. I would actually like to see, like right in through there, that bend just a little bit farther down. And then of course that'll get all chopped off there. That's just extra that you need to be able to bend the material when it's in the bender. I'll put the hood down and see what this thing kind of looks like sticking outside the hood. Hell yeah, that's looking sweet. I can't wait to get the rest of them done, get it all welded up. But before we do, I've got one more scenario that Dustin brought up that I'm going to go ahead and do. And that is going to be to turn part of this tube into basically a little glass pack, if you will. Now we're going to accomplish that by taking a piece of 1.5 inch tube. I'm going to put some slits in here and basically put some little louvers inside of it. And then I'm going to take some of this high temp packing material here, wrap around it. We're going to shove that into this pipe before we put that bend in, attach it inside there, put the bend in, and then this will all get welded right up to the header flange. I don't know. Sounds like a pretty good idea to me. So far, I think Dustin's leading me on the right path, so we're going to try it. We're going to see how it works. Alright, so let's get a couple things said here real quick. I already told you to begin with that I am not a professional header builder, and Dustin is not a professional header builder either. Now, I am using his advice because I think it actually might help the way this truck sounds a little bit as far as that goes. It might take some of the drone, I guess, or whatever you you want to call it, out of the exhaust. I mean, I am planning on running this thing down the street, so any little bit that I can there to help is going to be good. Now, I know these headers are not going to be the best performing headers out there. First of all, right off the bat, I already know that zoomies kill horsepower anyways. A long tube header is actually going to produce more horsepower than a zoomie right off the bat. So I already know that my choice there has already limited my horsepower, and I'm probably losing a little bit of horsepower by doing what we're doing here. Now, having all that said, this still fits my goals with the truck. I am not building a bracket racing truck. I am building something that I can just go cruise around town in, have a good time in, and just look cool. So I don't really care if I'm losing a little bit of horsepower out of this deal. It's just about the looks that I want, and this is actually going to probably help the sound a little bit, so it's not so deafening when you're driving the darn thing around. Now, I am completely open for comments to tell me how we could do this thing better, and maybe some point in the future I'll do a different set or something. I don't know, but for now, I think this is going to work, and we're going to run it a little bit, and we're going to see how it goes. All right, so I'm back from Dustin's, and I had to throw these things up here on the truck real quick as soon as I got back. So check this out. Is that badass or what? These things are sick. Can't wait to weld these things up, see what it's going to look like. But before I do, I just want to say thank you again, Dustin, for all your help. I really appreciate it, and I think we're definitely on the right path now. So let's break out this welder. Damn, that is wild looking right there. That's even better than I was envisioning this thing looking in the end. I am totally digging that. That is awesome. Now, it's probably going to have the ends of this cut off a little bit here because they're pretty wide. So, I don't know. You guys be the judge. Should I maybe cut it off here or maybe down here about where the bender was hitting, or should I do it right here in the bend itself? Let me know in the comments below what you guys think there. I also think that I'm going to need to probably put a strut in here of some sort that's going to go back to the frame and then come up and kind of help support these things. And I'm going to need a plate here to kind of come across here and tie everything all together. So once again, I think I'm at that point where I need your guys' help. Now, we could obviously take just any old regular piece of metal and just stick it across there and tack this on and call her good. But I'm thinking that it would be even cooler if we took and made it a little bit bigger and then actually put some words in there or something. Now, I could obviously put Old Crow in there, and that would be fine, and I might end up doing that if I can't come up with something else. But I was thinking, and maybe with your guys' help, we could come up with something that was kind of funny or clever that we could just put in here that would make people laugh or piss off old ladies or whatever, you know, something fun. So if you guys got any ideas, throw those down in the comments below. We don't have a lot of room here to work, so it's probably going to be one of those deals where it's only going to be maybe about 20 letters or something like that. So got to keep it short, got to keep it sweet, and it's got to be funny one way or another. So there you go. And I think with that, that's about all I got for you guys for today. So I'll see you next time.